Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever felt broken after walking away from a narcissist? Like your heart's been through the fire, your trust shattered, and your spirit crushed. I want you to hear me loud and clear. Your story isn't over. In fact, what's coming next is way bigger than the pain you've known. God's plan for you after a narcissist isn't about just surviving. It's about thriving, about rising up, about becoming more than you ever imagined. And if you're ready to stop feeling stuck in hurt and start stepping into your purpose, you've got to stay with me, because what I'm about to share will light a fire in your soul and show you how your past is preparing you for the most beautiful chapters yet. After walking away from a narcissist, your heart feels shattered, your spirit worn thin, and your sense of self questioned. But here's the first powerful truth to hold on to God's plan for you is about healing and wholeness. It's about taking those broken pieces of your heart and life and making something beautiful out of them. Healing is not just about mending what was damaged. It's about becoming whole in a way you never thought possible. When you've been through the storm of a toxic relationship, especially one with a narcissist who hurt you deeply, it's easy to believe you'll never be the same again. You might feel like you've lost part of yourself, or that the scars will always define you. But the truth is, those scars don't have to be the end of your story. In fact, they can be the beginning of something greater. God's plan is to take the brokenness and use it to restore your soul, to fill the empty places with hope, strength, and love that runs deeper than anything you've known before. Healing starts when you begin to accept that your pain matters, that your wounds are real, and that your suffering is not meaningless. God sees every tear, hears every cry, and knows every struggle you've faced. And He doesn't want you to stay stuck in that place of hurt. He is working quietly and powerfully behind the scenes to bring restoration. It might not happen overnight, and the process might be messy, but healing is happening. It's a divine work, slow, steady, and sure. Wholeness is more than just feeling better. It's about reclaiming your identity beyond the pain. When you've been controlled, manipulated, or diminished by a narcissist, your sense of self can become twisted. You might have believed lies about your worth or your ability to love and be loved. But God's plan is to strip away those lies and rebuild your identity on truth. You are created, loved, and valuable, not because of what others say or do, but because of who God made you to be. This healing journey also teaches you patience and compassion, first for yourself and eventually for others. It's about learning to be gentle with your heart, forgiving yourself for times you stayed too long, and giving yourself permission to grow. God's plan isn't just to patch you up, it's to transform you into a whole, vibrant person who can love deeply and live fully. And here's the most beautiful part: healing is not just personal, it's spiritual. It reconnects you with your faith and your purpose. When you embrace God's plan for healing, you tap into a source of strength that no one can take away. You discover peace that surpasses understanding and joy that isn't dependent on circumstances. Your brokenness becomes a bridge, not a barrier, to a deeper relationship with God and a more authentic life. Remember, the journey from pain to wholeness is not a straight path. There will be days when the hurt feels fresh, when the past seems to pull you back. But every step forward, every moment you choose to trust in God's plan is a victory. Your healing is a testament to your resilience and a sign of God's unfailing love. So when you think about your future after a narcissist, hold on to this: God is preparing you for healing and wholeness. Your broken pieces are not your defeat. They're the raw materials for your restoration. Trust that God is weaving your pain into a story of hope, strength, and beauty that will inspire not just you, but everyone around you. Healing is your birthright, and God's plan is to bring you there one step at a time. After experiencing the pain and manipulation of a narcissist, one of the most powerful parts of God's plan for you is to help you recognize your true worth. When you're caught in a toxic relationship, especially with someone who constantly devalues and controls you, it's easy to start believing the lies they tell about you. You might begin to think you're not enough, that you're unlovable, weak, or somehow responsible for the pain you endured. But God's plan is to shatter those lies and reveal to you just how precious and deeply loved you truly are. A narcissist thrives on diminishing others to elevate themselves. They chip away at your confidence, ignore your needs, and make you feel invisible or insignificant. Over time, this constant erosion can leave you doubting your value. You might ask yourself, why did they treat me like that? Or what's wrong with me? But here's the truth you need to hold on to. Your worth is not defined by how someone else treated you. Your value isn't based on someone else's ability to love you or their willingness to see your beauty and strength. God's plan is to guide you back to the source of your true worth, a worth that's unshakable because it's rooted in divine love. You were created on purpose with intention and meaning. You are wonderfully made, unique, and irreplaceable. This realization is a key part of your healing. When you see yourself through God's eyes, you begin to understand that no toxic relationship, no harsh word, no betrayal can diminish who you really are. Recognizing your true worth isn't just about feeling good about yourself. It's about reclaiming your identity. When a narcissist controls your life, they often steal your voice, your boundaries, and your confidence. You may have learned to minimize your own feelings or needs just to keep the peace. But God's plan is to restore your voice and empower you to stand firm in who you are. It's about walking boldly into life with the knowledge that you deserve respect, kindness, and genuine love. This journey to recognizing your worth also involves learning to love yourself fully. Self-love is not selfish, it's essential. It means treating yourself with the same compassion, patience, and care that you wish others would show you. It means setting boundaries that protect your heart and refusing to settle for less than you deserve. God's plan is to help you build that foundation of self-respect and confidence so strong that no one can shake it. The process may not be easy. You'll face moments of doubt and insecurity as old wounds resurface. But each time you choose to believe in your worth, you take a step closer to freedom. You begin to break free from the chains of past pain and toxic voices that tried to tell you otherwise. And with every step, you grow stronger and more aligned with the person God created you to be. God also wants you to understand that your worth is eternal. It doesn't depend on your achievements, your appearance, or anyone's approval. It's a constant, unchanging truth. This perspective brings peace and security, especially when the world around you feels uncertain or judgmental. Knowing that you are valued beyond measure gives you courage to walk away from anything that tries to diminish you again. As you embrace this truth, you'll notice a shift in how you relate to others and to yourself. You'll start attracting relationships and experiences that honor your value. You'll find the strength to say no to what's harmful and yes to what nurtures your soul. You'll become a beacon of light for others who are still struggling to see their own worth. So, after the storm of a narcissistic relationship, remember this: God's plan is to lead you back to your true worth. It's a worth that no one can take away, a worth that is your birthright. When you fully accept that you are precious, loved, and valuable just as you are, you step into a new season of life, one filled with confidence, peace, and authentic love. That's the beautiful future waiting for you. And it starts with seeing yourself the way God sees you. After walking away from a narcissist, one of the most hopeful and exciting parts of God's plan for you is the opening of doors to new, healthy relationships. You've been through pain, betrayal, and manipulation, But the future holds something completely different. People who will respect you, cherish you, and uplift you in ways you've never experienced before. These new relationships aren't just romantic. They can be friendships, family connections, or even professional bonds that bring positivity and support into your life. God's plan is to surround you with love that heals, honors, and grows. One of the hardest things after leaving a narcissist is learning to trust again. Narcissistic abuse can leave deep scars that make you question whether anyone will truly value you for who you are. You might wonder if all relationships are just going to be cycles of pain and disappointment. But God's plan is to restore your faith in others and in the possibility of genuine connection. He wants you to know that the right people are out there. People who see your worth, appreciate your kindness, and want to walk beside you in honesty and respect. These new relationships won't look like the old ones. They won't be filled with manipulation, control, or emotional games. Instead, they will be built on trust, mutual care, and healthy boundaries. When God opens these doors, He brings people into your life who encourage your growth rather than hinder it. They celebrate your successes, support you through challenges, and respect your need for space and self-care. This kind of love is nurturing, empowering, and freeing. In God's plan, these relationships are part of your healing journey. They remind you that love isn't supposed to hurt or diminish you. They show you what true respect and kindness look like, and they help rebuild your confidence in giving and receiving love. When you experience genuine care, you begin to heal the wounds left by narcissistic abuse, and you learn to set new standards for how you want to be treated. Sometimes, these new connections come in unexpected forms. Maybe it's a friend who listens without judgment, a mentor who believes in your potential, or a partner who values your whole being. Each of these relationships is a stepping stone toward a fuller, richer life. They remind you that you're not alone and that you're worthy of deep, meaningful bonds. God's plan also uses these relationships to teach you important lessons about trust, communication, and self-respect. As you open your heart to new people, you learn to recognize the signs of healthy love versus toxic patterns. You develop the wisdom to protect yourself and the grace to allow others in at the right pace. This discernment is a gift, preparing you for relationships that will truly enrich your life. It's natural to feel cautious or even fearful when entering new relationships after trauma. But God's plan encourages you to move forward with hope and courage. Each positive connection is a sign of new beginnings, a proof that healing is happening. You don't have to rush or settle. The right people will come at the right time, and when they do, they'll honor the journey you've been on. In these healthy relationships, you find the freedom to be your authentic self. You no longer have to hide parts of who you are or walk on eggshells. Instead, you're accepted and loved for your true self, flaws, strengths, dreams, and all. This acceptance is deeply healing and opens the door for deeper intimacy and joy. Remember, the relationships God brings after a narcissist are part of a larger plan, a plan to restore your joy, build your community, and celebrate the new you. They're not just replacements for what you lost. They're better, richer, and more aligned with who you were always meant to be. These connections will lift you up, help you grow, and remind you every day that love can be kind, honest, and life-giving. So, as you move forward, keep your heart open to these new relationships. Trust that God is guiding the right people to you, people who will walk beside you in healing, hope, and love. The future is bright, and the love waiting for you is real, healthy, and transformative. That's the promise of God's plan for you after a narcissist. After experiencing the deep wounds caused by a narcissist, one of the most crucial parts of God's plan for you is to learn how to set strong boundaries. This isn't just about saying no or avoiding people who hurt you. It's about protecting your heart, your peace, and your well-being so you never have to settle for less than you deserve again. Setting boundaries is a powerful step toward reclaiming your life and your identity, and it's a key part of the healing and growth process that God wants for you. When you're in a relationship with a narcissist, boundaries often get ignored, dismissed, or outright trampled. Narcissists push past your limits because their need for control is greater than their respect for your feelings. Over time, you might have felt invisible, unheard, and powerless. You may have even questioned whether your needs mattered, but God's plan is to teach you that your boundaries are sacred, they're not negotiable, and they're essential for your health and happiness. Learning to set boundaries means understanding that your feelings, time, energy, and body belong to you first. It means giving yourself permission to protect those things fiercely. This can be scary, especially if you're used to people disregarding your limits, or if you've been conditioned to put others first at your own expense. But God's plan is to empower you to say enough when something doesn't feel right and to stand firm without guilt or apology. Boundaries also help you identify what is and isn't acceptable in your relationships. They give you a clear line between healthy connection and toxic behavior. With boundaries in place, you create a space where respect, kindness, and love can flourish, because those are the only energies that can cross the line. God wants you to live surrounded by people who honor your limits, who listen to your needs, and who celebrate your worth without trying to control or diminish you. The process of setting strong boundaries often involves learning to listen to your intuition and trust yourself. After being hurt by a narcissist, it's natural to second-guess your feelings or doubt your judgment. But God's plan includes restoring that inner voice, the voice that says, "This is too much," or "I deserve better." That voice is your guide to safety and peace. As you strengthen it, you'll find it easier to recognize red flags, say no when necessary, and walk away from situations that threaten your well-being. Setting boundaries also teaches you the art of self-respect. When you protect your limits, you show yourself that you matter. You demonstrate that your happiness and peace are priorities, not afterthoughts. This shift in mindset is transformative. It breaks the cycle of people pleasing and self-neglect that often traps those who've been in abusive relationships. God's plan is for you to live boldly in your worth, with boundaries that guard your heart like a fortress. It's important to remember that setting boundaries is not about punishing others or building walls to isolate yourself. It's about creating healthy spaces where love can grow authentically. Boundaries help you build relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. They also give others a chance to see your value clearly and to engage with you in ways that uplift and support both of you. Sometimes setting boundaries means making difficult choices, like distancing yourself from toxic family members, ending unhealthy friendships, or refusing to tolerate manipulative behavior at work. These decisions are part of God's plan to protect your peace and prepare you for the healthy relationships and opportunities ahead. Though hard at first, these choices lead to freedom, clarity, and a deeper sense of self-love. God's plan is to equip you with the strength and wisdom to maintain these boundaries consistently. It's not always easy, especially when faced with pressure, guilt, or the temptation to revert to old patterns. But with each boundary you uphold, you reinforce your healing and build a life rooted in respect and dignity. Remember, boundaries are acts of love, love for yourself and love for those around you. They set the tone for how you allow others to treat you and how you treat yourself. God's plan is for you to live with boundaries that protect your spirit and allow your true beauty to shine. So as you continue on your healing journey, embrace the power of boundaries. Let them be your shield and your guide. Know that setting boundaries is not only your right, but your calling to live free, whole, and fully respected. This is the strong, beautiful life God is preparing for you after a narcissist, and it begins with honoring yourself enough to say, "This far and no further." After walking away from the pain and confusion caused by a narcissist, one of the most empowering parts of God's plan for you is to help you grow into your purpose and power. What might have seemed like a devastating setback is actually a setup for your greatest season yet. A time when you discover your strength, embrace your calling, and make an impact that's bigger than you ever imagined. This growth is not accidental, it's a divine unfolding of who you were meant to become. Being with a narcissist can leave you feeling small, lost, and unsure of your worth or abilities. They often try to dim your light so their own shines brighter. But God's plan is to reignite that light within you, to help you stand tall and reclaim your power. After the pain, there is a powerful transformation where you begin to see yourself through God's eyes as capable, valuable, and destined for greatness. This growth often starts with healing, mending the wounds left behind by manipulation and control. As you heal, you develop resilience, wisdom, and emotional strength that become the foundation for your future. What once felt like a burden becomes a badge of honor, proof of your endurance and your capacity to overcome. God uses your story, including your struggles, to prepare you for a purpose that requires courage and authenticity. God's plan also involves equipping you with gifts and talents that you may have neglected or doubted because of the narcissist's influence. Maybe you put your dreams on hold, ignored your passions, or silenced your voice to avoid conflict. Now, you're called to rediscover those parts of yourself and develop them fully. This is a time to step into your unique calling, whether it's in your career, your creative pursuits, your community, or your family. You are being shaped into a leader, a healer, or a source of inspiration. As you grow, you also learn to set boundaries, not just for protection, but as a way to honor your purpose. Boundaries keep you focused on what matters and prevent old patterns from pulling you back. They help you conserve your energy for the work God has prepared for you and ensure that your relationships support, rather than drain, your progress. This disciplined approach is part of walking confidently into your power. Your experience with the narcissist, painful as it was, becomes a tool to help others. Your story can encourage those who feel trapped or broken. Your wisdom becomes a light for those searching for hope. God often uses our hardest seasons to develop empathy and insight, making us effective guides for others who need healing. This impact is part of your purpose, a way to turn pain into power and suffering into service. Growth also means embracing your voice and speaking your truth, no longer silenced by fear or manipulation. You find the confidence to express your needs, your dreams, and your boundaries clearly and unapologetically. This newfound voice is a powerful tool in building authentic connections and creating the life you desire. It's a sign that you're no longer living to please others, but living in alignment with who you truly are. God's plan for growth is a journey, not a quick fix. There will be moments of doubt, setbacks, and challenges. But each challenge is an opportunity to deepen your faith, refine your character, and strengthen your resolve. Every step forward is a victory, a testimony to your transformation from pain to purpose. Remember, your past does not define your future. The pain you endured is not wasted. It is preparing you to walk in a power that comes from overcoming, from surviving, and from trusting in God's plan. Your growth is a miracle unfolding, a story of redemption and hope that inspires everyone around you. So embrace this season of growth and power. Know that God is with you, guiding you toward your highest potential. Your purpose is waiting, not in spite of your past, but because of it. And as you step into that purpose, you become a living example of how God can take brokenness and turn it into brilliance. This is your greatest season, your time to shine brighter than ever before. After the storm of a narcissistic relationship, God's plan for you is not just about survival, it's about peace and joy. Too often, when people think about healing from such deep emotional wounds, they imagine a long, hard road of just getting by. But God's promise is so much greater than mere endurance. It's a life filled with true peace, overflowing joy, and freedom from the chains of past pain. This is the beautiful future waiting for you, and it's a key part of His divine plan. When you've been hurt by a narcissist, your spirit may feel heavy and burdened. You might carry anxiety, fear, and a sense of brokenness that makes it hard to breathe deeply or trust fully. But God's plan is to lift that weight off your shoulders. He wants you to experience peace that calms your mind and soothes your soul. This peace isn't just the absence of conflict. It's a profound sense of safety and rest that fills your heart, no matter what life throws your way. True peace comes when you stop carrying the pain alone. It comes when you release anger, bitterness, and regret and allow healing to take root. God's plan is to help you move past the trauma and into a place where your heart can heal fully. In that place, you no longer wake up weighed down by memories or fears. You wake up with hope and confidence that every new day brings new blessings. Joy is another beautiful part of God's plan. After the darkness of manipulation and lies, joy might feel distant or even impossible. But joy is a gift meant for you. It's not just happiness based on circumstances. It's a deep, abiding gladness that comes from knowing you are loved, valued, and restored. God wants you to live in that joy every day, not despite your past, but because you've overcome it. Joy also comes from reclaiming your life and your passions. It's in the small moments, laughing with friends, pursuing your dreams, enjoying simple pleasures, that you find your spirit renewed. God's plan is for you to rediscover delight in living, to embrace the fullness of life that a narcissistic relationship tried to steal from you. Freedom is the crown jewel of God's plan for you after a narcissist. Freedom from guilt, shame, and self-doubt. Freedom from the need for approval or validation from those who never gave it to you. Freedom from the patterns of manipulation and control that kept you trapped. This freedom is a powerful declaration. You are no longer defined by what happened to you, but by who you are becoming. Living in peace, joy, and freedom is not just about feeling good. It's about walking confidently in your purpose and your truth. It means you can set boundaries without fear, love without hesitation, and live without constantly looking over your shoulder. God's plan is for you to thrive, not just survive. To shine brightly, not just exist quietly. It's important to remember that this peace and joy are gifts that require nurturing. Healing is a journey, and there will be days when the past tries to pull you back. But each time you choose peace over bitterness, joy over despair, and freedom over fear, you strengthen your spirit and move closer to the life God intends for you. Surround yourself with people who support your healing. Engage in practices that nourish your soul, whether that's prayer, meditation, creative expression, or community service. Trust that God is guiding you every step of the way, gently leading you toward a future filled with hope. You are not alone in this journey. God's plan is to walk with you through every challenge, every victory, and every moment in between. The peace and joy you seek are already within your reach. They are your birthright. So after the pain of a narcissistic relationship, open your heart to the peace that passes all understanding, to the joy that lifts your spirit, and to the freedom that sets you truly free. This is God's promise for you, a life abundant in love, light, and endless possibility. And it all begins with believing that your best days are ahead, filled with blessings you never dreamed possible.